What is up, everybody? Welcome to this little GameXplain discussion. I am joined by Adam, and Adam, today, you might even need to correct me right now. We're talking about Live Alive?
Look, I played the game. I don't know what it's called. It's Live Alive. It's Live Alive.
Yeah.
Whatever anybody wants to call it. So I think, for the purpose of this discussion, I think Live Alive is probably the right pronunciation, but I'm sure we'd be corrected.
Fantastic. Listen, I like Live Alive. I think it's a cool title.
Yeah.
But, so you've been playing this game, and I gotta tell you, as an Octopath Traveler fan that has not had enough time to jump into that demo that's available now, I am excited to hear about this game. You know, kind of like the Nintendo JRPG for the people that have not played Xenoblade.
Yes.
And yeah, so Adam, where are you at with this game? How has your time been? Are you enjoying it? Just give me it all.
Okay, so I am currently about, firstly, I'm enjoying your enthusiasm about it. So I'm currently about 8.5 hours into it. Now, obviously, for the purpose of this preview, we can only discuss certain parts. So we can discuss the 3 episodes that were in the demo up to a certain part, and then we can discuss 1 episode that isn't in the demo. But yeah, Live Alive, there's 7 characters that you can choose from, and you can dip in and out whenever you want. So you could be halfway through one character, and you can just go back to the menu and then start on another character. And each of them are set in different time zones. So the first one that I played it's called the Twilight of Edo or Edo, Japan, and you're like a ninja sneaking into this like base, and it's stealth, and you can the level is actually really open, so you can walk around, you can get up on the rooftop, and you can find little secrets, and the level design on that's actually really good. And then the next one that I played is the Distant Future, which is set on a starship basically, and you're this little cute robot guy, and you wake these people up from cryo, and then it turns into like a murder mystery almost, and there's no real combat in that. So there's loads of combat in the ninja one, but not really. Actually, there's pretty much 0 combat in the Distant Future one. And then the one after, well, actually the one after I played of that was the Wild West. And that was pretty cool because, well, it's set in the Wild West, so, you know, the Wild West is cool. And also, well, actually, no, I think Wild Arms is technically, that was a Wild West JRPG, I think. I never actually played it, but it's something that I've never really seen in a JRPG before, or played. And then that one has a bit of combat, and it's like, you know, showdowns. So it's like, you know, you're walking 5 paces and then draw, and then it goes into a battle, which is actually really cool. And then the final one, which I am almost complete, or almost finished I guess, is the Imperial China one, and you play as a master martial artist, and that one feels very like a JRPG, like you're going from town to exploring a forest, fighting like tigers and stuff. So that's like the most traditional one, and a lot of them have like, you know, different unique mechanics. Now obviously I can only talk about the four episodes. So like the Twilight of Edo Japan one, you have, I think if you press Y or X, you pull up this basically like invisible thing that turns you invisible, so you can actually play it completely stealth if you want. And then the Distant Future one doesn't have any interesting mechanics, but then does the Imperial China one? No, the Imperial China one is still like, the Imperial China one is a very, very traditional JRPG, but then the Wild West one has this like day, so you have to prepare because the bandits are coming into town and you have to help them out, and you can set traps, but you only have like, I think it's 7 or 8 nights to do that. And at first that mechanic sounded really cool, but it wasn't really fleshed out very well. But that's like the overview of all the episodes there.
So what I'm hearing is we've got the ninja thing, we got the Distant Future, Wild West, Imperial China. Having heard you already talk a little bit about these special mechanics, the different ways you can play them, is there, for somebody that hasn't touched this game at all, is there enough kind of connective tissue between each one of these storylines, gameplay-wise, that it's not super crazy to go between them, or do you kind of feel like there's a lot to learn when you go to a new one?
No, there's like they're very easy to grasp. Like the combat system. Okay. So if anyone you've never played it, so and I'm not sure if what you've seen of it, but the combat system is like a grid tile based. So you load in, there's a little square, and then you have like it's an ATB system. So with the bar it fills up, and as you move, then you can use your skills. and all the skills are done off tiles. So like there could be one that works in a 1 tile radius around you, or there could be one that only works diagonally, or one that there's some really weird ones that like work in really weird ways. Like it might be it skips 2 tiles and then you can hit them there, and then it skips 2 more tiles up here and you can hit them there. So, but the combat isn't very deep. It's like unbelievably easy. I don't think I died once, which is a bit of a shame, but it's nice that even though the episodes do feel like very different, like as I said, the Distant Future one is basically a murder mystery. You're walking from room to room, just talking to people and looking at audio logs and things like that. But even though they play completely differently, it all does still feel like one package. Now, the stories themselves, again, this could all like somehow come together in like say a final chapter. I don't know how what way the game is structured, but so far there's basically zero connection in between them apart from how they feel to play.
Do you feel, are you having the experience while playing that I know in games kind of like this, for me, I get a little attached to one of the storylines or one of the characters, and then when I'm playing, I kind of have that moment where I go, oh, I kind of wish I was with my little alien buddy. Has that happened to you? And I know you haven't played too much yet. 8 hours for a game like this, it's not too much.
Oh, the game actually, to me, the game actually doesn't seem like it's going to be very long.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like some of the episodes, like I think the Twilight of Edo Japan one took me maybe like 4 hours, but then the Distant Future one's maybe like an hour and a half, because that one's mostly just dialogue. But yes, I do.
Is that for the whole? Is that for the whole?
Yeah,
thing?
the whole. Yeah, so the whole Distant Future thing takes about like an hour and a half.
Oh,
yeah.
So, okay, I didn't know it was going to be like that.
I know. I was expecting 8 or 10 hours each, but some of they do vary in length. I think the Wild West one again only took like an hour and a half or 2 hours, which, so as you were saying, I do feel like I was getting attached to the Twilight of Edo Japan and the Imperial China one because the combat is really fun. The moves are cool. Yeah. The animations are really slick, but they're not really long enough to like kind of really bring me into the character. And then again, the Distant Future one has some cool characters, but the Twilight of Edo Japan and so far the Imperial China one, like the characters are just like, to be honest, I'm sitting here, I only complete the Twilight of Edo Japan chapter 2 days ago, and I'm struggling to think of what the character actually was.
Yeah.
So that one was more just fun to play because the level design was so good. And then it's cool how there's a nice mix where the level design of the Twilight of Edo Japan one was so interesting that's what I remember about that. And then the Twilight of the Distant Future one, I remember the relationship specifically between the main character and another character. Okay. And then the Wild West one, it's like very cliche, but it works. And then the Imperial China one, the graphics on the Imperial China one are absolutely gorgeous. That's what I remember. Okay. And then also the move animations for the Imperial China one are really cool too. So it's nice, even though I'm struggling to get into the characters, it's nice that each of them are so distinct in like whether it be their story or their gameplay, that I remember bits about them.
Yeah. As you're talking about this, I'm reminded of the fact that this is, of course, a remake of a game that never came, at least to the West. I don't know. Did you guys ever get it? Did you guys ever get it?
I'm not sure, but I don't think it came over here. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
I was -4 when that game released. So,
okay. Yeah. Okay. But I guess what I'm wondering is, RPGs as a genre are pretty iterative, and sometimes it can be hard for me to go back to an older RPG. Does this feel like a game that was made now, or do you occasionally run into some weird old-timey jank?
To be honest, like if you had told me this is a brand new game, I'd believe it. Because one thing that it does, and now this could have been in the original, but it's a 1994, I believe, JRPG, so I highly doubt it was. But the map is really good. So you have a little mini map down the bottom, and then orange is where your main objective is. Blue are side areas that you have explored, and then grey are side areas that you haven't explored. So I was never lost, and I'd imagine that the original didn't have this. Now, I could be wrong. So for, say, the Distant Future one, the whole thing is set on this ship that has 3 different levels, and it's a very similar layout. So I'd imagine without the map, I would have been just running around like a headless chicken, going into doors like, oh no, this isn't the room, walking back out, oh no, this isn't the room. But because the map is so good, I'd say that would have been the part that felt the most dated. And the fact that they have that in it, there's no messing about. You know where you need to go, which is great because you know, I don't know what you are like with JRPGs, but playing old JRPGs like Final Fantasy 7, 6, all these, like, I remember in Final Fantasy 7 there was one part where the background you had to climb up a crane, but it barely even looked like it was part of the terrain that you could move on. So it just removes any of that, which is great. So it doesn't, like, if you had told me, look, this game is brand new, coming out today, I'd believe you.
That's fantastic to hear. I am somebody who, that's one of my gaming pet peeves, not knowing where to go.
Yeah.
I even in like Zelda games, sometimes I get frustrated because I just want to know. Yeah.
I need a guide.
Yeah, 100%. Now, so now something I'm thinking about is just like, I'm trying to figure out where Live Alive is going to fit in my gaming routine. And now reflecting on what you said about how long each of the sections are you finding, I know it's a little different because you're playing it for like the preview and all this other stuff, but are you finding that this is something where you kind of like sit down and you lock in for a whole section, or are your gameplay sessions like kind of little chunks?
Well, I just recently recovered from COVID. So
Me too.
So I've been very tired. So I haven't been able to sit down. Like, at most I've played for like 2 hours at a go. But I actually, like, what I'm thinking, like, I think what I would say would be the best way to play this game is actually if you say play 30 minutes and just like over 4 days, just play 30 minutes to an hour and then finish one chapter. And then maybe if you really want to, you can play another chapter the next day. But because so far they're not so linked, it's actually working out pretty nicely that, like, you can just play a chapter, put the game down for 3 or 4 days if you say something else comes out, or you have a multiplayer game you want to play, and then come back and then do another chapter and work through that way. Because like, I have a lot of time to review this game, which is thank you very much Square Enix and Nintendo. That's very nice. Yes, I have a lot of time, so like I'll be able to take my time, explore the levels, play a chapter over the course of 2 days, and then maybe put it down for a day, and then play another chapter. So I think that's how I'm gonna approach it.
Okay, that sounds great. I'm liking what I'm hearing here. Now, I guess something I'm wondering now is that, like, I want to talk a little bit more about the combat.
Yes.
So you said it's kind of simple. Is it simple in not just execution, but is it that you feel like there's always an kind of like a best move, and you should always kind of be doing that like it's obvious to you, like, oh, I could do this, the clearly best option, or I could do something else?
Yeah, I think in most cases there's different like resistances and vulnerabilities that enemies have, and luckily it tells you it. You don't have to go figure that out yourself. But it's like at some points, especially in the Twilight of Edo Japan and the Imperial China one, I just basically latched onto 2 moves per character. I was like, oh yeah, this is the move that will just wipe out everyone on the map.
Yeah.
And like, so some of the moves say they'll inflict poison, or they'll reduce the movement speed of your enemies, or things like that. So in the Twilight of Edo Japan one, I forget the name of it, but it sent out a lot of butterflies, and it was an AoE attack. So pretty much every single battle without fail, the only move I used was that one. I experimented with the other ones, but I was like, this is good, but it doesn't send out butterflies that poison stuff and slows them down. And so that was just the move I used. And then with the Imperial China one, since he's a martial artist, there's some really cool moves that this is where I wish the combat was slightly more in depth, because he has moves that close gaps and then also push you away from the enemy. So since you're a martial artist, you're up close, but if they're a couple of tiles away from you, you can use a move that you basically jump on them and attack them. And then if you think they're going to deal a lot of damage to you on the next turn, there's one where if you're right beside them, you kick off them and then you make a bit of distance. But the combat just isn't hard enough so far to warrant the use of any of these, because in most cases 1 or 2 moves and they're dead. So it is a shame. But there's no random encounters, which is a massive plus, because random encounters are just...
I hear you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I'm a fan of this. Now, what's interesting to me is I think RPGs can be special sometimes in that some of the things you're talking about things being simple and being able to kind of just like devote this one strategy, in some games that is to the detriment, and it makes you want to like get through battles faster and like say, oh, I'm a little tired of this. But the fact that there are no random encounters, and sometimes, like, listen, personally, sometimes in Pokemon, I just want to level up my Charizard and get through the Elite Four.
Yep.
Like that's just, you know, sometimes that's part of the fun, is that you have the choice to do that. Are you feeling like the kind of lack of critical options is to the game's detriment, or is it fine?
Yeah, it's like realistically, like if you play Dragon Quest or you play some of the old Final Fantasies, the majority of the battles are just you run in, mash A, there you go, it's done. There's very little strategy to it. And then the problem with the older games is that a lot of the times, you know, they'll deal some damage to you, and then there's no auto heals. Then you have to go into your items, you have to pick up a potion, give it to him. Oh, I don't have enough MP to use cure. Oh no, here we go. I better go back to the inn and rest. So I'm glad that this is a 1994 game that doesn't have any of that stuff. When you finish a battle, you're fully healed. Again, that might be new, I'm not sure, but to me that's just such a great quality of life improvement. And then also there's no grinding as well, because as I said, the game's easy. So if you don't like grinding, which to be honest, I'm over grinding. I liked it when I was 7 and I had, you know, I could sit there and just grind, but now, you know, I'm playing 20 different games at once, so I don't want to sit there and just mash A all the time.
Right.
Now, in saying that, in the Twilight of Edo, Japan, there's this secret boss. Now, he's actually, you can access him in the demo, but there's this secret boss that's a massive fish, and he pretty much one-shots you, and I don't know, like that's the part where I'm like, what's it, like, do I seriously have to sit here and grind if I want to fight him for like 10 hours to fight him? So I really don't know what the story is with him, or if later on he's gonna come into it somehow, or you can go back with like a superpower character. I don't know, but yeah, that has me intrigued. And then yeah,
that has me intrigued.
Yeah,
that's intriguing.
Yeah, you can access him in the demo. So I mean,
yeah,
but then you just have to go around and kill all these little enemies. It'd be like that episode of South Park, the World of Warcraft one, where they go into the forest and they just kill like a load of level 1 boars to level up to kill the guy that was killing them all. So I don't know what the story is with him, but I might find out at the end.
Okay, that's really cool, actually. Now, okay, you've mentioned this like butterfly attack. Now I'm hearing about this giant fish enemy. I feel like there's some cool stuff happening. I really love the 2D HD art style. Yeah. Is this game just like killing it in that regard?
Oh yeah, absolutely beautiful. Like even the small things, like the lighting in the distant future ship as you're going through the dark corridors. It's like there's just these tiny little squares of light, and I don't know, they're just beautiful. And then walking through the towns of the Imperial China one, there's like it's like a bustling market street, and there's like, you know, there's oranges in a basket, and there's people walking around, there's fires lighting everywhere. It's absolutely beautiful. Now this is like a complete nitpick. The rock textures on the side of the mountain in the Imperial China look absolutely atrocious. They genuinely look like they've been taken directly from a PS1 game and just plopped in. Everything else looks gorgeous, the foliage, everything, the animations, but they just decided, just see this mountain, look, just throw it in, be fine. No one will notice that, even though it's like right in the background here. It's like, oh, yeah. I noticed that. That was a complete nitpick.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. You noticed it. Yeah. Oh man, that's so funny. What a strange thing. Wow, now I'm like looking forward to seeing if I notice it.
No, I think you will. I assume everybody will notice, because the rest of the game looks so nice. And then the attack animations as well. There's one in, I think it's Twilight of Edo, Japan, and it's like a phoenix move, and you like jump up into the air and summon a big phoenix from the corner, and it just slices down the whole thing. It's brilliant.
And then I loved what you had to say about that town. I'm looking forward to seeing that town with the oranges. I can see it in my mind. But something I loved about Octopath Traveler were the bosses. is there now, I feel like the answer to do the bosses look cool is just going to be an easy yes, but have you, in regards to the difficulty and the combat mechanics, is there a difference between your normal fights and the boss fights? Is there kind of something happening there?
Yes. Now I can't speak about the boss fights, but I can say in general they are definitely more difficult.
Okay.
There's a slight bit more strategy to them, but again, they're still not very, like, they're not, like, you're not going to be pulling your hair out trying to fight. There's no like break system or anything like that. It's very simple in that regard.
Interesting. Okay. Adam, is there anything I'm not asking about that you really want to talk about?
No, like the only thing that I had written down here, I had like them broken up into little sections.
Yeah.
Things, and then the general, I had like general things that I wanted to talk about, and the number one thing was I wanted to talk about how good the map system is. So I pretty much spoke about everything. I mean, it's a lot shorter than I expected this game to be. I was expecting 8 or 10 hours per episode, and then, you know, then the game is 60-70 hours long, but it's not. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if you finish the game within like 20 hours. Now, again, I don't know. I've played 3 and a bit of the stories, so I still have a lot more to go, so like from now. But yeah, it's a lot shorter than I expected. It's fun. Like, to be honest, like Octopath Traveler was a great game. I never finished it because I just fell off it. But again, like the combat system in most JRPGs isn't really that in depth. Like, especially like I've played Bravely Default recently, Bravely Default 2 and Octopath Traveler, and all of the combat systems, the majority of the fights, you're just kind of sitting there like, oh yeah, there we go, there we go, the end. So when a combat system is so simplistic, but it also isn't afraid to hide it or isn't afraid to show it, then it's not as big an issue as maybe I made it out to be. But yeah, the game's beautiful.
Cool.
7 cool stories so far.
Yeah.
While the stories are a bit, you know, cliche, it's cool to have a nice wide range of stories in one game. It's a nice little package, and yeah, them mountain rock sprites, not very good. Everything else, beautiful. No. But yeah, that's it.
I made my background, I don't know if you can see, from one of the trailers. It's like, this is in the game somewhere. I don't know where. It's probably a section you can't talk about.
It's a section I haven't played. I can make an assumption of where it is but
yeah.
Yes.
But this is the one I'm excited about, because I feel like this is in this art style. Oh man.
Yeah, that looks like Street Fighter or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So I'm excited about that. And let me ask you this, as a potential consumer for this game, as somebody who will have to pay the 60 bones, do you feel that this is a game where, I don't know if you checked it out or anything, but that the demo is a good, like, this is all you kind of need to, you can check this out, get a great taste of the game through the demo? Yeah,
I think if you enjoy the demo, because the demo, especially for the Twilight of Edo Japan, they give you quite a lot of that in the demo.
Cool.
There's nothing extremely new after the demo. So if you like the demo, now just bear in mind that the game is short. I know a lot of people do take into account like money per time spent, or time per money spent, should I say.
Yeah.
But it is shorter than I expected, so that's something to think about. But if you did like the demo, then the game is just more of that, and it is a good showing for it. So, because like, again, you'll be able to see how the combat system works and how it's not exactly the most in-depth thing, but you know, you can make your own mind up on that, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more content. I'm sure with we're doing this preview discussion right now, but I'm sure there's probably going to be a couple other things at least going up.
Yep.
Whenever people are seeing this, so they can check those things out as well.
Yep. I don't know exactly, but there will be other stuff.
Will be something.
There will be.
Great. And Adam, anything else you wanna share with the audience before we sign off here?
I'm glad that I'm reviewing this game, because then I can finish it before Xenoblade Chronicles 3 comes out. And then I'll be able to play that game with no distractions, because I knew that Live Alive or Live Alive or Live Live, whatever you want to call it, was going to get in the way.
Wow, I can't believe this. I can't believe you're double dipping on summer JRPGs.
I mean, it's you know, 3D platformers, JRPGs, that's all I need. Klonoa is out. In 3 days.
You playing Klonoa?
No. I wish I was playing it, but it's out in like 4 days. So it's a good time. JRPGs, 3D platformers, great.
Wow.
And yes, I pronounce it tree.
Yeah, insane. I was just gonna let it go.
Yeah, no. Well, there's gonna be a comment somewhere. They always use the tree emoji. Always. I'm Irish. That's how we pronounce the words.
Oh my god. Wait, they do the tree emoji?
Oh yeah. Wait, every time I say 3D platformer. But this is getting derailed.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I hope I see trees in the comments.
No,
now.
always. There's at least one tree and one. I can't believe Conor McGregor is reviewing this game. So there we go.
That's fantastic. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to see more Live Alive, we've got it on the channel. Check out that demo on the eShop. But for everything else, games, you're already in the right place. So just let us explain. Adam, thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and everybody, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.